Shower TV Productions, and today I'm going to be breaking down the main card for 1 on Prime 4, Abbasov versus Lee. First up is a bantamweight contest between Bellingham and Kim Jae Woo. Stylistically, both of these guys have really similar styles. They have pretty good boxing. They use a lot of looping shots. They're very reliant on their power. They utilize pretty good leg kicks as well. I think Bellingham has a little bit better technique. He's got that classic blitzing style of Team Luque. Meanwhile, Kim is a little bit younger, and I think that he's a little bit more reckless with how he throws his shots. For a prediction for this one, I'm going to go with Kim here. I think that his youth is probably the biggest reason. Bellingham has just looked a little slower and hasn't looked as good in his recent performances. The biggest thing going for him in this fight is that Kim is cutting down to bantamweight, so he could possibly be a little bit depleted, but I will lean Kim here. So I'll have Kim winning this fight via a decision, but this fight definitely has the potential to be very explosive. Next up, welterweight Muay Thai between Cosmo Alessandre and Juan Cervente. It's very exciting to see Cosmo finally back. He's just an excellent all-around kickboxer, and I'm glad to see him in Muay Thai. As for this fight, I think it's a pretty good fight for him to return to. Juan, a lot of the attacks that he uses are based off of the leg kicks that he throws. He leans very heavily into them, and Cosmo is excellent at checking leg kicks. I think that Cosmo is going to do a lot better than him in terms of boxing and setups. I think it's going to cause Juan a lot of problems in terms of the body shots and just the overall boxing that Cosmo has at his disposal. I'll have Cosmo winning this fight via a second round knockout. Following that is a bantamweight MMA contest between two top 5 contenders as Stefan Lohman takes on the former 2-time champ Bibiano. This fight is very interesting stylistically. I think Bibiano is one of the best fighters to never fight in the UFC. He has excellent offensive wrestling, very slick jiu-jitsu, very underrated boxing, and a lot of power. He actually has a pretty good chin as well. He's a very tough fighter for basically anybody in the division. Lohman has a classic Team Luque style. He's very fast, he's got a lot of good kicks, and he even has pretty solid boxing as well. Something that I think separates him from a lot of the other Team Luque guys is that he actually has pretty decent offensive wrestling, which is something that a lot of the other Team Luque guys lack. Biggest question is how will Bibiano recover from that knockout loss earlier this year? He is older, he is 40 years old, and that was a pretty devastating knockout. If we see the same Bibiano of old, I think that he'll probably win this fight, but it's just a question of how well has he aged. For a prediction, the only question is how Bibiano will recover from the knockout loss. I'm going to have Bibiano taking this via a third round submission. Then in the very explosive co-main events of the evening, Joseph Lissiri, the current strawweight Muay Thai champion, takes on Tang for the flyweight Muay Thai title. This is a very fun fight to think about. Both of these guys love to get into wars, but technically speaking, I do think that Tang has Lissiri outclassed in a lot of ways. His boxing is a lot better, his kicks are a lot better, his combination works far superior. I even think he has more power and definitely a better chin. I do think Lissiri has better intercepting shots. Lissiri has a really good jab, but that's going to be hard to work around for him because Tang just has a really good movement and just can shut off a lot of what Lissiri can do. For a prediction, I'm going to have Tang winning this one. I think that he eventually overwhelms Lissiri in the later rounds, and I'll have Tang winning this via a 5th round TKO. Finally, in the main event, Abbasov taking on Christian Lee, the current lightweight champion for Abbasov's welterweight MMA title. Very interesting contrast of styles here. Christian Lee's very fast. He's got pretty solid power for a lightweight, but we'll have to see how that translates to welterweight. Abbasov, technically speaking, is not the strongest competitor, but he uses a lot of power. Great knees, pretty solid boxing. He actually has really good offensive wrestling and solid jiu-jitsu as well. Lee, he has really pretty good boxing. His cardio has gotten better, I would say, but his wrestling and jiu-jitsu are also really solid. Technically speaking, I think Christian is a far better boxer. I think that a lot of the shots that he throws should be able to land on Abbasov without too much of a problem. I think it's just going to be his gas tank that's the thing to be concerned about. For Abbasov, I would try and wrestle as early as possible because he's going to have a size and strength advantage over Lee, definitely. Lee has never really felt like the power wrestling, offensive wrestling from someone like Abbasov, and that's definitely going to gas out Lee before, like pretty early into the fight, and then he can take over and maybe even submit Lee in the later rounds. It's going to be an interesting fight to watch, but I'm going to lean Lee here because he is a lot faster and he does have a better combination work on the feet. So I'm going to have Lee taking this via a decision. I don't think he'll finish Abbasov because Abbasov is such a tough guy to finish. I mean, he absorbed so many shots from Nakashima and didn't even look like it phased him too much. For the fight that I'm most excited for, I'll do Listeria versus Tang. That has the potential to be just a grueling back and forth war. And for the fighter to look out for, I would say Bibiano here. I think it's going to be interesting to see how he recovers. And with that, that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my opinions, leave a like and consider subscribing. Make sure to comment your own opinions down in the comments below. And that's Charity Productions, and I'm out. Thank you.